Welcome back to Satisfactory, and today we're going to get started with some more foundations, but not something too worrying or too hard. Just to really sort of pave this area over a little bit, and let's see if we can build a miner back on top, because I did get told that was possible, so I thought I would give it a try. And let's put in some foundations, and there, and there, and there. There we go, and let's just fill it all the way to the wall, the cliffside. There we go. So we can be able to put the miner Mark 1 back again. Yes, we will. It's locked in place, so we should be able to do that. And that will mean then I can then reattach our conveyor belt, and it will go back in. Yes, it's slightly offset. That's not really a problem. It's just that's where everything is working to. And 1, 2, so that should be powered. And the drill's powering up straight into the foundation. It's fine. This is fine. No problem. And are we getting some ore out? Yeah, that's fine. So that will work fine, and we don't need to worry about any of this horrible, you know, nasty nature stuff that we need to get rid of. So let's just get rid of this iron ore. I'll be able to pave the rest over with foundation. One of the other things I thought I would do that I just did see on the subreddit really is just another arrangement for these. You can have these ramps, I quite like them, but just in case you want to build this a little bit differently, we have some other options. So let's just show you, and then you get the choice for your own construction. Wall conveyors Mark 2 would work fine, but I think I'm just going to just use Mark 3s here. Yeah, I think I want them like this. Okay, and we now have effectively... Actually, I need another gate in here somewhere. Let me just put another gate here and build a gate. There we go. Hard to see which direction is which, but that should be okay. There we go. And we've still got a tree on the inside, of course. But now, essentially, we've got a ladder that we can go up. Now, the main problem with this is you can see where the floor from upstairs actually comes up to. And that's sort of problematic, really, unless we have floors of some kind that we replace. So I can't really do that for the moment, but you get the hopefully you get the idea. If I just temporarily hook this to no, it can't really do that very well. Yeah, that's too close, isn't it? You'd almost need to go out there or something like that. It would certainly run okay on this side. So we could run something like that, but then running up to the next level, can we actually do that? We'd probably have to come up to a pole out here somewhere, and then from there back again. So if we just say, let's just run a pole to, I don't know, there? What happens if I run one to there, and one from there up? That's alright, it just needs a little bit more tweaking. You can see that would work, it's just a little bit too steep. So if we're going to do that, then we're going to need to just remove this pole and here, and maybe move this pole out a little bit. Or, you know, there's other, you know, ways we can do this, but just to give you an idea, let's just do that. And then will you have enough room now? Still too steep. You're fine there, but not here. Okay, but you get the idea. We can build a ladder up through and using these conveyor sort of portals. And there's other ways of doing this as well. We could put more walls on the inside here. In fact, let me just take that one down, just so I've got some room to build. So yeah, if we build, yeah, I'm going to be short on concrete again, aren't I? Just grab you. And you. Okay. And then we can build a second tier. Okay. So now, depending on how far these are away, is whether I can actually do this or not. So yeah, it will go up one. And then we can use that to go around. And from here, we can go around and up one again. This is going flat at the moment, but you get the idea. It could go up another one. And then out and around. You know, so there are easy options for just moving stuff around until we've gotten more building options. So let me just get rid of those, and hopefully that gives you some ideas. I'm not going to worry. I'm going to leave mine as ramps for the moment until I need to neaten things up. I don't want too many large ramps like this, but later on. So we'll just get rid of you and you. And we can put our walls back in. So let's just make sure they're around. Encroaching others clear. Oh, nah, yeah, let's get rid of you. There we go. And that's the one I want. That isn't. Be nice if it remembered the rotation. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, is that remembered it for the outside? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so bringing everything back. So that's just an idea on moving conveyors around. You're fairly flexible with the poles as they are, but the existing sort of wall blocks really do help things. And there are other ones as well. We haven't really used them yet, but the wall conveyor perpendicular, for instance, you can have the conveyor at the side of the wall like that, so that'll run it along a factory wall or something like that. So yeah, just some ideas. I can maybe come up with some other examples as I actually go through and build stuff. However, on to the rest of today's episode, which is really about sort of refining our first production chain, really. We're going to want, and not to complete 100% efficiency, we're just going to want something quite quick, is we're going to need what the space elevator wants us to build. And let's just head out there so we can remind ourselves. Remember rightly, it's refined iron plate or something like that. Yeah, so reinforced iron plate, beg your pardon. And it's going to need rotors. Okay. And it's going to need 75 and 50. Can I not add this to... It'd be nice if I could add that to like the to-do list, but it doesn't seem like I can. Oh well, I'll just remember. Something I'm obviously very, very good at and don't forget at all whatsoever. Alright, so I'm going to go upstairs and then we'll go and start constructing something for that. Reinforced iron, well, maybe able to do manually, but the other one we probably want to do automatically. To do that, if we want to do automatic, I'm going to need 300 rods because we need that part assembly thing that's at the top right of the screen. It's a milestone. And we need that for the assembler, which is the bigger machine that can make things from multiple parts. So let's go and grab however many rods this is made already while I've been talking away. Anyway, in fact, we've got enough for all of it. That'll do. And we can just pass this in. And this factory, by the way, with was it 3 high or 4 high for each floor? It's just high enough that you won't take fall damage. It's 3 high. But if you jump even slightly when going out one of those doors, you take fall damage. Just a thought. Also, I would really like it if this, the hub, could have ramps. Either built in or attachable. You can sort of try and make it with a foundation, because I'm going to be rebuilding this on top of foundations at some point. But even so then, I'd like to be able to walk straight onto it rather than keep on jumping onto it all the time. Yeah, just a you know, an idle thought. And let's just feed in all of these rods and go. There we go. Part assembly. And is there anything left in tier 1 and 2 that I actually need? Object scanner, I'm not going to worry about. Fabric is, as far as I know, just for parachutes, and I'm not going to need that. Obstacle clearing, I would like a chainsaw, but that's 10 reinforced iron plates. We can get straight into the space elevator instead. And then jump pads will be sort of amusing to get into the factory instead of ramps, I suppose, or instead of those stairs. And I think I want to actually get these walkways, but let's do the space elevator first, come back for the walkways, and then we'll do some experimentation about how well they fit into the factory. Alright, so first things first, can I actually already build the assembler, or do I have to wait for the pod coming back? We didn't used to be able to have to wait. Yeah, there you go. So assembler, it needs modular iron frames, it needs rotors, and it needs cable. So we need to be able to make that. So rotors are here. They need screws and rods, and we're already making rods up there, remember? So we have one part of the rotor construction done. Screws are also made from rods. So what we'll need to do is take rods out of it and then loop them back into something else, or have a parallel workflow entirely that make another one that makes rods, and then obviously make screws from the rods. The modular frames are going to be reinforced iron plate. Hang on. Yeah, reinforced iron plate. So if we're going to make rotors at all, we first need to make reinforced iron plate, and that is just plate and screws. Screws, relatively straightforward because they're made from rods, and we're already making rods up there. So if we have some routing up there, if I go and get some more bits and pieces, we should already be able to make the reinforced iron plate. And once we have some of that, we should amass a little bit more of it before we start thinking about rotors on top. For example, we can load up the space elevator with that for 75 of them. So let's get up here and let's take a look. I clearly don't have enough floor space for this yet. Unless I get rid of the, well, even if I get rid of the storage boxes. So, yes, we're going to need more floor space, I'm afraid. And yes, it's unsupported. It's massively unsupported at this point. But this is infinitely strong foundation, so it's fine. You can just attach it to thin steel. There's no problem. And if the devs are listening, they're probably just going to make this whole thing collapse at some point with a future update. Anyway, before we get to that, so we've got plates here, we've got rods here, and we're going to be able to make screws essentially straight from this if we wanted to. So I'm going to need to build out quite a bit more, and we'll come back once I've done that for making some junctions and machines and stuff. While my assembly machine is making more concrete down there on the floor, I'm actually just going to use some of the floor space up here rather than building all the way off into the distance, just to sort of compact this thing a little bit. So let's just put an assembler down, and we're going to align it with this one. I'm going to need, oh, not an assembler, whoops, constructor. There we go, that makes more sense. And I'm going to need to space it out a little bit again. Why don't I just place this about here? Okay, in line with the others, same distance. And we're just going to bring a splitter around here, and this is going to make screws essentially. So it needs iron rod, and it can take up to 15 per minute. We're not going to worry about ratios right now. This first tier of space elevator does not need that much stuff that we need to worry about ratios. I know you probably want to. I know, I want to as well. Okay. Give it a little while, and then we'll see what we need to do from there. So let's just bring this down the middle, shall we? And go from there to here. Okay, and we'll do the same thing down here, just so I've got a node that I can bring this onto easily. And you will do around there. Yep. And then we'll bring that from there to here, and from here around. There we go. So we're sort of, it's not quite the same. We need, to keep things a little bit more rounded, in fact. Yeah, I've got to do this. It's just going to annoy me otherwise. So why don't I just bring that to there? And then that'll make sure that this is nice and round. And neat. Yeah, I like it. It'll do for now. And on this side, of course, we can then put in a storage box here if we want it. So let's take a look at those recipes again. We are going to need reinforced iron plate for an assembler of some kind. And that's going to need rotors and modular iron frames. So I'm going to need to go and make some of those manually to get started, I think. Yeah, so let's go and take a look at doing that. Do I want this to run while I'm doing this? Yeah, why don't I just put a box down? Organization storage container, and just rotate that. And let's line this up. There. There it goes. You don't need to designate this as anything particular. It's just going to start storing screws if that's all running. It needs power. And do I have enough power to start this up without it all failing? That's kind of close, isn't it? 30, 34... 30, let's give it a try and we'll see what happens. That's the incoming power, so let's just power you up. And are we gonna, well, yeah, that's shut down. Okay, so this is the limit of our system without putting separate power biomass burners in. So what I think I'm going to do is do just that. Let's just, have you started back up? You have. Okay, so I think I'm going to get some biomass burners. That will probably mean I'll move them away from those 2 points that are on our hub. So our hub really won't be used for all that much. We'll be able to build a box just to get rid of that personal box there, and then we'll be able to get rid of the biomass burners. So the only thing left to use the hub for is going to be pretty much what you can also build separately as well, like the craft bench. You can build this already with just 3 iron plates and 3 rods, and that actually solves the problem. The only thing left that I can't reproduce is that research station in there. So for now, yeah, we're stuck with this. Okay, So I'm going to build some then biomass burners because we need this up and running. So for power, biomass burners, that's relatively straightforward to make. I'm going to need a few more rods and some wire. So we've got 3 biomass burners, and yes, they're on top of the iron deposits, mainly because by the time I need those other iron deposits, we'll already have coal, and coal generators will not be situated here. The coal generators are huge, so we'll get to those on another point. So yeah, we have capacity of 60 megawatts, and we're currently using 30. So I just need to hook up the machines up here, and then they'll be ready to start producing the screws for us. Let me just get up here. Yes, and I'm all for any ideas other than the bounce pads, perhaps, of how I might get all this done up here. Or at least how I might get up here pretty quickly. Yeah, that's done. So we should start getting screws. Good. And that will do fine. Now off to make some more manual stuff just to get ourselves started with the assembler. So let's head down here. And let's go and see what we need to build. So I'm going to need modular frames, so well, I'll be able to make a couple of those, but not very many. We need more reinforced iron, which needs more screws, which needs more rods, and yeah, I'm a little bit out of rods at the moment. Okay, so I need to go and grab some other stuff, and we also need rotors, which have the screws and the rods again. So let me grab a whole bunch of those, and we'll come back and get ready for the assembler. Okay, so we're now ready to build the assembler. I made the others manually, and they are relatively straightforward. The assembler, however, is bigger than the other machines. You'll see it's higher, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want to have really small floor heights, ceiling heights even. So yeah, we got a choice of how exactly to place this. I think for the moment, we're going to want to align the output here. I think I want to put the right one just on alignment with that particular line right there. Okay, and up it goes. Giant machine. And that means I can then feed in U, and that's rods. And then screws, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to basically just grab a conveyor pole. There we go. And we'll line it up right in front of that, essentially, so that it ends up being nice and square. And we'll do the same thing over here, so that we have to sort of turn this. Do we want to just do it maybe 45 degrees? No, that'll be fine for the moment. And if I just put that there, that's nice and square. Just have to go to do that by eye. There we go. And same thing from there to here. And we should have screws and rods. They both combine together to make rotors. Screws and rods. And this just needs a little bit of power now. So we need another set of power coming down here. That one has 4 connected to it, and it shouldn't really. So let's just get rid of this. And we want to make sure there's always 3 before we extend it, so that everything will work quite nicely. So let's put 1 there. And then we'll place 1 much further down here. Still in line with the rest. And there we can just connect U to U, U to U, and our flying manta ray, or whatever you might want to call it, is also got its family there. Okay, and let's feed you in. And now everything should be powered. We need just be powered from U to U, and then everything is connected. So how's our power doing? Still consuming around 30 megawatts of power. You should have everything you need. You just need screws, which are just arriving. Good. And this should start making stuff. There it goes. So it's going to be able to make 6 rotors per minute when it's not overclocked. And since we need about 50 of them, then yeah, it's going to take less than 10 minutes to do so. Yeah, about 8 minutes or so, around that kind of area. And as we don't need to pipe this in automatically, I mean, we could. It's just down there. Do I want to do that? It's a long way down. If I just put one, let's say we put it here on the edge. Will it actually take that and send it over there, or is it too long? So we'll have to put down another pole if we want to do that automatically, sort of in line. It might be nice if we could actually get it in line properly. Although it won't line up, I don't think, with anything over there. So we've got to get it roughly right. Okay, and now will you connect if I ask you to go from there to this? Still too long. It needs to be down there then, doesn't it? Okay, so let's bring it up 2 levels, 3 levels maybe? We can get rid of that one. It should be long enough to go from there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we don't have to really worry about it. You don't really need to do this at this stage, but it's just sort of nice to be able to do that kind of thing, really. And then we'll need another one alongside this for the second one to feed in reinforced iron plates. Speaking of reinforced iron plates, then we'd have to have this whole thing done again with a different sort of setup. So to do that, we're going to need iron plates. And what was the other ingredient? I can never remember what the other ingredient it was. 1 second. Yes, it's screws. Of course it's going to be screws. It's a thing that I don't have on my inventory, but we have screws available. If only we could, say, combine the iron plate from the other side and the screws from this side into one thing. Well, I think we can. All we really need to do is bypass this sort of thing, here or right here, and combine that line with this line, or a splitter on this line, I should say, rather than, you know, the whole thing where it is right now. So, why don't we just have a little bit of play around here? Can I build a splitter? Do I have the resources on me? Logistics splitter? I do. Alright, so let's just take this off here. Disappear for the moment, and let's just grab that splitter. And we want the input coming from the right hand side. And we want to line it up with both of those. So out goes the splitter that way. And in comes the input. Alright. And now what I wonder is if we can actually send splitter uphill. Will it let me put it on top of this other splitter? I would hope that it would. Once you get it in the right place, that is. Yes, it will. Okay. I may actually want that to be steeper, just that it looks nicer. But let me just see how steep will you allow me to build this thing? If I put you in line and then build you upwards, will you let me elevate that any more? I want it too high ideally, but I think that's going to be far too steep. Yeah, it won't let me do that. Okay, so let's just put it 1 high. And there we go. I like that. That's a little bit nicer. And is that already above the height of this? I don't think it is. Let's just see what happens if I put one on this side at the same height. Will you now do the same thing? Okay, and if we just connect the two of you... No, you have a problem. You've got an issue with with the height of this. So we do need to go up at least 1 above the top, and we can sort that out. Okay, 1 second. Okay, now that Windows has stopped complaining at me that I'm running out of storage space, we should be able to then connect this directly to a belt here, temporarily. And from here, we need some iron plate, but that's fine. We got some iron plate right here. Lots of it, in fact. And then we can go from here to here. I need to refine that. It's a little bit, yeah. It's okay for now. I'll figure it out later. Anyway, on this side, then we can feed in 2 more of these into another assembly if we have one. And I think I'm going to be out of stuff. Yeah, I've got the rotors, and I need some cable and some modular iron frames. And here we go. Our assembler's now up and, well, it's not running yet, but it's up. And there is the conveyor that can go for this, for the plates. And then we have basically the one here that we can just sort of enforce that it goes a certain way. Let's just get things lined up with you. So let's bring you back to about there or so. And then we'll just bring you down. Okay. So I'll fix those. It's those 2 legs. I think they need to be higher and probably closer in, just so that this is basically... let me just actually fix that now. That's just going to really irritate me if I don't fix it. Let's just get rid of that section, and this section, and hopefully I can get these actually right. Yeah, hopefully people will appreciate my attention to detail here. We'll see. That doesn't always happen. The main problem here is this is going to be a bit of obstructed by this other belt. So, you know, we need to get this taller. Can we actually get it in here without it looking too bad? 1, 2. Yeah, ish. That might fit closer. That'll work if it'll connect. Ooh, it just about will. Okay. And we want it the same sort of at the other side. So it's going to be, I don't know, around about here. At least that's where I'll leave it for now. We don't need the other side of this splitter, so it's fine. Oh, and it's just a little bit too steep for that, so I need to move this in a little bit. You can go away. You can go away, and maybe that'll be far enough. Still too steep. Oops. Anyway, I will solve that off camera. That is the right distance, though, isn't it? Or maybe... Yeah, it is the right distance. What happens if I just try and connect these two? What's the curve going to be like? It's okay for now. Okay. I would like that to be have a longer run of straight ahead of that, but it's fine. That all should start running, and it should have everything it needs now, apart from power. And power, we will do our usual thing here of just running a power pole somewhere reasonable. In fact, it probably will connect to this. Yeah, there's nothing else on here, so there we go. Yep, that's working fine. And what's our power consumption like now? Yeah, still fine. Okay, so now this should start producing as well, hopefully. It just needs enough screws. And we probably need faster belt just to get those screws running a lot better. And of course, we'll bring it to here, and then we can run it underneath and across to one of those other ports. Have I just run out of power? No power? Did it spike? It did spike. Okay, and it spiked quite annoyingly. Yeah, just over the top. So, do we actually run out of... I don't think we ran out of... we ran out of fuel? Let's go and have a look. Because I can always build another biomass burner. That's not really a problem. I just want to make sure I've not run out of fuel in any of these. 49... 49... 49. No. So we just need another biomass burner. Power, biomass burner, and you. Then we can connect it up at the back. I've got these poles here, so we can get from you to you. And that should be 4. And we should be okay. We just need to put some more biofuel in there. Not biomass now. And hopefully everything should start. Yep. Okay. Where was I? Ah, yeah. We just need to filter out these stuff down into our space elevator, even. And if we just rework this a little bit, it'll come out a little bit nicer. So if we just take that, and let's just take this output and put it into the middle one. And then we'll do the same thing here. We'll just put another pole down alongside this one. Like that. Thereabouts. And we'll make it the same height. And we may have to do another one further back here or something like that, just to so this isn't too long. Okay. And then we can connect up everything to everything else. So if I just connect you to you, you to you, and then all we need to do is connect the output at the top over towards that pole. And here we are, we have components coming down the line. We've got some reinforced iron plate there and another rotor. I've actually made some more manual on top so we can actually just complete this off. So I added an extra 20 or so reinforced iron plate and a few rotors. And you'll see that we now are able to seal the crate. And down it should go. And then we can send it. And let's see if there is an actual animation now. I think there is. That's good. This has been added since the alpha weekend, so it's been quite quick. Oh, and there it goes. Yep. Off up the, well, it shouldn't really spin if it's on a ribbon. There's like a triple ribbon thing going on. Anyway, that's heading up there, and we should now have unlocked tier 3 and 4, which is great for the 3rd episode. I tried to compress things from the alpha weekend as much as possible, really, but yep, this is pretty good, and we should now... Let's go and have a look. What's in 4? Unless 4 is locked by 3, but let's have a look. Nope. Okay, so tier 3 is coal power. Important, and more important than anything else. The coal generator is great. If you find coal, you can... what I was planning to do is bring the coal back here, and you need to do that for steel anyway. But what I think we can do temporarily, at least, is do what I did in the alpha weekend, which is set up a coal generator at the coal. And that will be used to self-power itself, but also if we build an array of them down at the coal, then we can just bring back the power on power poles. And then when we need the steel, then we can basically box it up as well. And then when we need the steel, we can go and get some via a tractor, which is the rover type vehicle, and you can autopilot it. You can set up an autopilot. Apparently that can be a little bit glitchy at the moment, so you could do it by belt, but it is a long way away. It's normally like 800 to a kilometer away from this particular point, the coal that is, so it can take a little bit of time to get out there and get back again. You could run a really long belt, but it's quite expensive at that point. However, at this point, yeah, the belt is basically free. It's just iron, so you know, you can sort of decide what you want to do on that one. Anyway, we'll leave that to another day. However, let's take a look. Logistics Mark II, that's a conveyor belt Mark II, which is good because that's double speed, I think. Yeah, double speed, and stackable conveyor poles. So we lose that problem that we have of trying to get conveyor poles into and out of walls and stuff like that. If we want them just to go upwards, we can put a couple of conveyor poles, stackable ones, opposite each other, and you can then use those and loop around them to create essentially a lift for any goods. But in tier 4, we have steel production. So we have the miner Mark II, great, even faster. Yes, we need the belt, the conveyor Mark II to match the miner Mark II, because this also is able to produce 120 resources per minute. We have a foundry, so smelts 2 resources into alloys. Interesting, which is where a steel comes in. Presumably that's going to be iron ingots plus coal, and if it matches real life, that shouldn't need a lot of coal. You know, even most steels are only a very few % coal. Carbon, I should say. So yeah, it shouldn't need that much, but maybe they haven't modeled that in game, and it may be 1-to-1. We'll see once we actually get there. Steel beams, steel pipes, encased industrial beams. Okay, stators, which should go with rotors to make motors, you would have assumed, at least anyway. And heavy modular frames, improved melee combat, so we get a Xeno Basher instead of a Xeno Zapper. And Logistics Mark III will take us into Conveyor Belt Mark IIIs, and that is not double again. That's actually just slightly more than double. It's 2.5 times Mark IIs. And a larger storage container, of course. So lots of stuff in tier 4 to get to, but to get there, we're going to get to tier 3. Most important part of tier 3 is getting coal generator set up so that you don't have to go and hunt down leaves for biomass burners anymore. And that is something that we'll be doing next episode. There is a, well, into the alpha weekend, certainly, there is a piece of coal on top of a cliff way over there. And I don't quite like the idea of getting from on top of a cliff, so I think once we have a tractor running to be able to explore, I mean, we'll go and have a look for other things. Can I actually look for it right now? No, I can't. I need that particular upgrade from here first. What does it take for the goal? Milestone, it needs 25 rotors and it needs reinforced iron plates, both of those being made automatically. That's kind of cool. We're also making wire automatically, and I've got about 1500 of it spare, so we'll have that. And cable is just made from wire, so you can make 200 cable manually just by jamming the spacebar down for a little while. So let's start next episode. We'll get towards coal. Well, we'll get into coal. And that's pretty good. So for this episode, we've got multi-component recipes up and running. Up there, right over there with our assemblers, and then we can have a look at tier 5 and 6 at some point as well. You'll see that already we're starting to build stuff up, so I think I'm just going to take I'm just going to disconnect those from the top section, I think. And let's just grab that section right there and just take it out. And this section, just so that they're not building up down here. And, you know, let's just take these out temporarily. And you. And we'll just put them back whenever we need them. So I've got some in my inventory now. And the next tier to get to 5 and 6 requires modular frames to be automated, as well as motors. So yeah, that's going to be a little while off yet. We're going to be able to make other, well, we want to make other stuff first. And I really should feel the need to put in walls here. And first, before we get to that, I want to see whether those walkways will allow us to replace anything up there in particular, so that I don't have this half a block of space. Otherwise, the ceilings would have to be like a 4-meter block, and then you wouldn't get a half block, but then it'd be very hard to get up to the next tier, you know, going through floors and such like that. So yeah, I'll have an experiment between the episodes. But for today, we're out of time, unfortunately. As always, I try to keep the episodes around about half an hour. I don't always get to get them perfect, but hopefully you've enjoyed this one. We've got multi-component manufacturing done. So hopefully see you next time for some more Satisfactory. If you like the episode, give it a thumbs up, feel free to subscribe, share as you normally would, or click on the bell if you want notifications for future episodes. And as always, most importantly, put comments down, give other people advice about your particular playthrough. We've had quite a few already. In particular, lots of advice about limestone spots and about this is how the Miner Mark 1 can go in through foundations and such. So yeah, I'll keep on adding those to the episodes as I actually see them. And yeah, we'll hopefully see you next time. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and this has been Satisfactory.